What is going on, everyone? Welcome to a special video. We're going to be ranking every single draft pick in the first round. Not every single draft pick, but every team's first round pick. And hey, some teams picked twice. Shout out to the Falcons that traded back again in the late 20s.
And the Giants.
And the Giants. Oh, yeah. That's a big one. We're going to get to them, too, for sure. Just to give a little caveat, we're AFC North fans, or teams, of course.
If you can't tell.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if he's rooting for the Browns right now or he's rooting for the Steelers. Who knows?
You want this jersey?
I'll take it. It's funny. I will hang it up behind me. I'll hang it up behind me. But we're recording this right now live while the 29th pick is underway with the Washington Commanders. And we're going to get this out as soon as possible. So we're going to start as soon as possible here with the first pick in the NFL draft. And in the beginning of mock drafts, they were thinking Abdul, Travis Hunter maybe Cam Ward, maybe Shador. But it ended up within the last week, everyone kind of knew Cam Ward was going to be selected by
I think even the
Titans
said that I think they told him like 3 days ago, like, hey, dude, we're taking you.
We're taking you. And even you see him stream. They give me your top 5 wide receivers. He put Calvin Ridley and
Yeah.
what's his? I can't think of the other. They just got another wide receiver. But if you were to rank S tier to F tier, Jordan, right off the top of your head, it's obviously hard to rank. They had the first pick. Can they really mess it up from what they need? Where are you ranking them?
Based on team needs, obviously, I think that they needed a quarterback. Not that Will Levis is bad. I mean, I was gonna try to defend him a little bit. He's bad.
We might not get to see the memes anymore.
Nah, no more memes, just meat.
All right.
Anyway, I think it's an A. You needed a quarterback. You have decent amount of weapons. I mean, they need a lot more than just quarterback in Tennessee, but I think starting with who the consensus believes is the best quarterback in the draft is not a bad place to start with your, fifth rebuild in a row?
Yeah, it's been a while. They've been rebuilding for a little bit. Yeah, it's going to be hard to put really any of these picks in S tier, just for the fact you don't know what these players are going to turn out to be. So I think that's a solid baseline. First round pick, they need a quarterback. Cam Ward was the best quarterback. We'll see how he turns out, but for right now, shout out to you Titans. You get an A for taking Cam Ward. And this next one is going to be a combination of two teams a little bit because it was traded. Originally, the Browns pick at number 2. It was traded to one Jacksonville Jaguars. And give me a second as I pull up the trade details. I should have had it ready, but I didn't. But the Browns traded away the second round pick, a 4th round pick this year, a 6th round pick this year to the Jags. The Jags traded away their 5th round pick, so the Browns only moved back 3 spots. The 2nd round pick this year, so pick 36, and then a 4th round pick this year, and a 2026 first round pick next year. So Browns got basically 2 picks in the top 35, top 36 after their 5th pick. And then they got another free first round pick almost for moving back a couple of spots. But we'll hold off on the Browns for now because we're going to rate the Jags here getting Travis Hunter. Personally, I might be a hater. A lot of Browns fans wanted Travis Hunter. They're upset that they didn't go that route. I wasn't a big Travis Hunter fan to begin with. He wants to play both sides. The Jags probably are going to let him do that because he said he didn't want to play unless he can play both sides. For the 2nd overall pick, I would put it B. I mean, I'm not big on Travis Hunter. I would put it B.
See, I was going to say C.
I'm cool with C
because
I didn't want to be that guy.
C, maybe even D. I won't be that much of a hater, I guess. We can go C. You gave up 2 first-round picks for a guy that isn't a franchise changer. And what I mean by that isn't because he isn't good at what he does, but franchise-changing players, you think of very dominant D end. But even then, Myles Garrett, you guys drafted him and picked first the next year. So like, how big of a franchise changer? Obviously, you're better with him, but quarterback is your franchise changer. I know they have Travis Lawrence. I was reading the draft pick. Trevor Lawrence. Um, but I don't think that Travis Hunter is that big of a needle push for them. I don't think that's going to create a lot of wins for them. And honestly, I think that they just gave the Browns a top 10 pick next year, even if the Browns don't have one next year.
Yeah, I mean, Trevor Lawrence injury riddled a little bit with, especially since last year. Mac Jones had to come in and play. Um, I, I'm not a big fan of the Travis Hunter hype around him. He did win Heisman. I personally don't think he was the best corner or the best wide receiver in
Nope.
college football last year. And
That's my biggest gripe with this whole conversation around Travis Hunter is he plays wide receiver. That's awesome. He's solid at it, but I'm taking McMillan over him. I'm taking a few other
Ibuka,
guys over him. Emeka Ibuka maybe over him. Um, and even I've seen people taking Matthew Golden over him, which
yeah,
all three of those guys are drafted. We will get to them later. But at corner, again, you have Jahdae Barron, who obviously
safety
the
and corner
Broncos
can play a little
the
bit of both.
Broncos liked. Yeah. I think Will Johnson's a better corner than him. I think that there's maybe one or two other guys that are around his level, but I think that there's for sure at least two in each position that are better than him. If you're trading up to get him there, he the thing people don't realize is he's not going to play every snap
Can't.
on both sides of the ball all game. It's impossible. So you're going to lose snaps out of your wide receiver and your corner if you're taking him. I haven't looked at the Jags depth chart, whether he'll be corner 2, wide receiver 2, corner 3, or corner 1. But hypothetically, let's say he's 2 and 2 on both sides of the ball. You're going to lose your wide receiver 2. He's not going to play half the snaps probably on offense. You're going to lose your corner 2. He's not going to play half the snaps on offense. So you're losing out on him. I know you're gaining him on the other side of the ball, but you're losing out on him probably for half of the time he should be out there if he was a true position player.
And what if he wants to return?
Yeah. I mean,
That's another
the
another
biggest
thing
thing
on
with
top of
that
it.
too, if you're playing both sides of the ball, your potential for injury is going to rise.
Yeah, and I was gonna say exactly what you said with the Myles Garrett and the Browns taking a certain player. Is that a game changer or a franchise changing player that's gonna win you games? Usually, no. That's probably why the Browns also moved from two. Abdul Carter was there. I think he's the best player in this draft. We're gonna get to him next, but you get Abdul Carter. That's not winning the Browns any games. Sure, you might, if you go by win shares, which statistics sometimes show, he might win you one game extra, but what's that? You need an offense, and the Browns don't
Could you
have an
go from the
offense.
2 pick to the 3 pick if you draft him?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, I'm cool with the Browns trading back. The Jags, I just don't think that answers all their problems that they have. Um, so we'll see. We're gonna put it C tier for now. You're definitely gonna call us haters, Jags fans. I'm sorry. I hope he plays well.
and
I like Travis Hunter.
Colorado fans.
Yeah, I like Travis. I just don't think he is the number 2 overall player in the NFL draft. So I
I agree.
and you got to think the Jags also traded away a lot to get that guy. So he has to turn out. He has to pan out. If he doesn't, that's a complete bust.
Yeah, and a whiff on your front office for making the trade. If he doesn't pan out and you guys have another season where you're picking in the top 10, you gifted the Browns a top 10 pick. Like I said, whether or not the Browns are there, the odds of them having a top 10 pick next year are extremely high now.
Yeah. We'll get to it, but Eagles and Chiefs traded, even though they're right next to each other. We'll get to that, but they did trade right next to
So
each other.
weird.
So
It's like the Bills and the Chiefs last year.
a little weird. But we'll move him C for now. We'll move on to, I think, is the best player in the NFL draft. I don't mind putting this S tier because the Giants' defense was already great. They got Thibodeau, they got Sexy Dex, they got great players over on the defensive line, or just the whole defense actually in general. They have Russ, they got Malik Neighbors, they got Jones running the Tracy
Hey, we
Jones.
gotta talk about 2 picks here though,
We do.
because they
Yeah,
got Jackson Dart as well.
they did get Jackson Dart. I don't know if you have time to pull up the trade details as we're talking here, but I will say I'm not opposed. At least if it was just this first pick by them, putting that S tier because of how great of a player they got. Jackson Dart, quarterback from Ole Miss, another good prospect. A lot of people didn't have him in the first round until recently, kind of jumped in there, but he does go before Shedeur Sanders. Shedeur Sanders yet to be drafted as of right now, and it doesn't look like he's going to be drafted by the Eagles or the Chiefs unless someone trades and takes their spots for some reason.
So the trade was from the Texans to the Giants. Giants acquired the Texans' 25th overall pick, and the Texans acquired pick 34, pick 99, and a 2026 third rounder. So they gave up a second round pick that was high second round.
A third,
Um,
fourth.
a third,
What's
or a fourth. I
99?
don't
99
remember.
might be,
Yeah,
it's late third or early fourth, maybe.
and then a third rounder next year. Realistically, to get a quarterback that you might think is, your
Franchise
guy,
changing.
you have Russ and Jameis. They're
To back him up, or
Jameis, right?
to
That's who they
mentor him.
have.
Yeah, to mentor him.
Yeah, to mentor him. He probably won't play this year.
That
This
might
is
be
tough.
S, bro. That
So
might be S.
the
Because
only
they
thing
didn't
that
trade away a first round pick either.
the only thing in my head that might keep it at an A is, of course, Abdul Carter is a great player. You drafted him onto an already good defense, but you needed help on offense, and you took a defensive player early. You could have got, I don't know who, Ashton Genty maybe, a running back there, maybe traded back a couple
Tracy Jones
picks.
is a good running back that they got. I
He's
think they're
solid.
comfortable with him.
He's
That's
solid.
why. They
I
could use
think that
another receiver, but I don't
you
think
could
any
have traded
receiver
back
was
a
that
little bit.
high.
Took, McMillan went 8th, which we'll get to, but um, I'm cool with putting it in S, dude.
I because
They got
we're not
two, they
gonna.
got
I
two
don't
good
think
players.
anyone's gonna have a better draft in the first round, and I think we need to put one S. I think we could just gotta put at least one
We
of them
have to
S.
put one in S. Yeah, why not? Why not?
So we'll throw the Giants, which I didn't think going into the draft they were gonna be S, but we got the
Here we
Giants at
are.
S tier right now.
Here we
So
are.
we'll move on to the fourth pick, to where I thought it was going to be only two people that were going to take, Will Campbell or Mason Graham. I didn't know which way the Patriots were going to go. And I had a feeling the Browns were either going to go three options, Graham, Campbell, or Genty. But the Patriots, they take their offensive lineman, which they've been rumored to take over and over again in many mock drafts, Will Campbell. And people did talk a little bit about him, had the little shorter arms than normal tackles did. I don't think that's a big issue. He has like barely shorter arms than the average offensive tackle in the NFL, so I don't think that's a big difference. You can watch the tape and kind of see how good he is. Patriots definitely needed help a little bit everywhere, but I think protecting your quarterback is a good first step in that direction. So I know I gave the S tier for the Giants first. I'll let you rank this one first for us. A tier. I like A.
I think that's it. Like you said, you needed help kind of everywhere, but I think starting with protection, you already have your quarterback. You got him last year. Build protection around him. They got him. They ended up getting a couple weapons in the offseason, didn't they? For him?
Yep.
One, I think. Stephon Diggs, right?
Yep.
And then they got somebody else, I'm pretty sure, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I can look it up as we're talking a little bit.
But I'm absolutely okay with that. I mean, either way they go, Mason Graham there or Will Campbell, I think they would have been still in A tier.
Mac Hollins, Austin Hooper re-signed.
Yikes.
They got Josh Dobbs, but they still needed a
I
lot
thought
more.
they got I thought that they got a better. I wouldn't have minded seeing them trade back up into the first and try to get playmaker on offense. But I do think Will Campbell is a good pick for them. Like I said, you want to protect your guy. I mean, if you're going to rebuild, you have to start at the top. Quarterback's at the top. Next thing you want to do is protect him. I mean, the last thing you want to do is Drake May to go out there next year and have no protection and just be getting killed all year.
And we'll put him A for now. I know in these rankings you guys are going to look at them. We're not going to rank them from left to right either. They're just going to be in that tier itself. We're not going to get that too in depth with it. But we're going to try not to have a tier list to where the first 10 picks or the top 10 rated picks. You know what I mean? Because where you pick at does matter. So depending on who you get, where you get them, we're going to try to, even though a 25th pick could be A as well as a guy that was picked number 3 overall. You know what I mean? We can try to make it as fair as possible instead of just whoever got the best players. But we'll move on. We'll move them to A, and we'll go to the Cleveland Browns. We just told you what the trade was. I think they got an absolute haul for only moving back 3 spots. I don't think they really cared too much. I think they were comfortable with whoever was going to be there at 5 just to take. Now, there was thoughts of me of either taking Mason Graham or Ashton Genty here. Ashton Genty would have been great offensively because we don't have a great offense. Nick Chubb is still unsigned, and Jerome Ford is Jerome Ford.
Jerome Ford.
So I was a little bit upset. I kind of wanted Genty, but at number 5, Genty seems kind of high, but we'll get right to him after this. You're a Michigan fan. You watched Michigan more than I did last year. How do you feel about Mason Graham?
I love him. I love the pick for you guys. Well, I hate the pick for you guys, I should say. F you guys for taking my guy. I was upset. I would have rather watched him go to the Raiders so I could root for him there, or the Patriots. I wish they would have taken him before you had the chance, because out of the, I believe there's still only been 3 Michigan players taken in the first round.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yep. Yep. We're still waiting to see if Will Johnson gets picked. But the 3 that they for sure were saying were going to be first round, I believe they were all top 13. Yep.
Loveland and Kenneth Grant was 13th. Yep.
Yep. I mean, he's a monster, man. Browns fans, I'm sure they know him very well because, like I asked Derrick earlier, I'd say 70 to 80% of all Browns fans are Ohio State fans. So you guys watched him do some dirty things, and I think you'll be excited to hopefully watch him do those things for your team. As for me, on the other hand, I'm upset. But
Drake,
do you want to take the reins on the grade because this is your team?
I'll take the reins. Obviously, it's a great pick. It builds our defensive line was the worst spot on our defense, excluding linebacker with mystery of JOK being absolutely 100% healthy. So that builds the defensive front. It's already nasty. It's going to be more nasty. But the question relied on, we need offensive help. We need quarterback. We need running back. We might need another receiver because Elijah Moore didn't re-sign with us. So I like the haul. They got a great haul out of it. I think they absolutely bamboozled the Jags, in my opinion. I like the Mason Graham pick. I'm looking at A to B tier here, just because it's not going to win them games next year. It might win them in the future. That first round pick next year, the Jags might be terrible. That might be Arch Manning. The Browns might be terrible. We might get another. We used both first round picks to move up in the top 3. Who knows? But
use both first. They're both in the top 5, and you take 2 quarterbacks. Just fuck it, one of them will work.
This could turn into it. Like if we do a year from now and we go into next year's draft and we get like the best quarterback in college, this would turn into an S tier in my opinion. But as of right now, the unknown, I'm looking at A to B. I'll let you kind of decide what tier that is. Currently, if we think it's on the tier of Patriot, I think it's probably pretty close to Titans and Patriots, just for the fact of the haul that they got. But
of course, you cut to me right as I was young.
I know. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. So I was gonna say A. I think this is an A tier. You guys got 2 first round picks for 1. You got Mason Graham, who I know you guys had said you needed a little bit of interior D-line help. So did we. We'll get to that later as well. But I think Mason Graham being in the middle, I know you guys have Mike Hall, who likes to do questionable things off the field.
Yeah, we'll keep that off topic.
You have a guy in there that, watching him throughout college, I love that guy. I could never buy a jersey now, but he's awesome. I'm happy for you guys.
So yeah,
I'm upset, but I would say A tier. If you guys drafted Genty, I would have been okay with putting a Genty draft pick at 5 and S. because that's an offensive playmaker that's going to win you games, and you still got that 2-for-1 draft picks.
Yep.
I'm not looking at like what that first round pick could turn into. It's all upside with that pick. That's a free pick,
Yeah.
even if it turns into a nobody. It's a free pick.
You can use that for a trade.
Imagine if I handed you $200 bills and you handed me one back.
I don't think it was that bad, but that would be dope. That would
You
be
know,
dope.
you know.
Um, we'll put him in A for now. I'll be a homer and just put him in the front of A, even though we're not ranking it that way. I just like to see it like that. So we'll move on to the guy that I kind of wish we would have had, and Jordan mentioned the Raiders taking Ashton Genty. We all thought Zamir White was going to be somewhat decent last year, especially coming in the year prior to that and playing pretty decent. Didn't do anything this year, got benched, and they didn't really have a great running game. So now you got Geno Smith, Jacoby Myers, and now Ashton Genty as the big three over there in the Raiders locker room. I don't think they could have really missed with this pick.
No, it's hard to miss with this pick. I mean, Ashton
I'm,
Genty,
it's the
you
fifth.
could have
It's
taken him if the Patriots didn't need so much and they didn't want to trade back. They could have had him at 4. I think Genty, far and away, is the best running back in the draft. I know earlier in this offseason there was a lot of talk of him maybe being able to slide to the Steelers. Would have been awesome. Obviously, that didn't happen.
not close.
But I mean, outside of Zamir White, they had Raheem Mostert, so they have a good chance of having that dual-headed backfield. So I'm absolutely okay with putting this in A tier or B tier.
So
Um, I don't think it's an
currently,
S tier pick because you're kind of taking him where he's supposed to be taken.
yeah.
But
Currently, I will say we got 3 in A tier. That's Browns, Titans, and the Patriots. The Raiders would be the first B if we had it in B tier. But
it's just so hard to
I'm
put
cool with
that in
it.
B
Ashton
tier.
Genty's nice. Yeah, I'm cool with throwing it in
It's so
A.
hard to put that in B tier. Like when I said A to B, I was hoping you would
Thinking
chime
A.
in and be like, "Oh, dude, A."
Yeah. We'll move him to A. Genty's just like, it feels like he's one in a lifetime type of running back to come through. Obviously, he could not be great. You know, anything can happen. That's what's great about drafts.
You always got to
In
look at
the
the upside.
in the first round, 75% of them aren't going to be great. So,
Isn't that crazy to think? Like all these names, like
the top
I know
30, the
Derek,
top
you're
32
not a
players.
huge college football like fan. I'm not the biggest college football fan in the world, but like I know a lot of the names that got drafted. I wish Dante was here because he would probably know them a little bit more than me. He does a lot more research on that. But out of the guys that got drafted, now the first round's officially over. Um, Out of the guys that got drafted, I know a lot of them. So to think like a lot of these guys that were dogs in college that you know of are not going to be good in the NFL, that's insane to think.
Yeah.
But still at that point when you talk about the draft, when you talk about, people getting picked where, when specifically Ashton Genty, he was the 3rd overall ranked player in this draft, win at 6. I think that's A tier.
We'll throw him in A for right now. If we have to shuffle stuff later, we will.
Gold Peak sponsor us.
Shout out. And shout out, you mentioned Dante. He's having time of his life in Jamaica right now. So we had a safe trip over there and hopefully a safe trip back. And hopefully he enjoys himself. Never been to Jamaica, but it's probably dope.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. The Snapchats he's sending us look cool. It makes me feel warm here.
Right.
It was warm as hell here, though.
We'll move on here to the 7th overall pick, to where, I mean, they needed a little bit of offensive line help, and they got it here. The Jets. They took Menbu. I don't know how to say his first name. I remember his last name's Menbu. Armand Menbu. And I'll be honest, I'm not the greatest analyst when it comes to tackles or linemen for the most part. And I'm not going to lie to you and pretend like I know a lot about this guy from Mizzou. I just know they need that help right there. And I'm pretty sure they got a decent player. So I'm cool with putting it B because I'll be honest, guys, I don't know a lot about this guy.
Yeah, I mean, The diehard Mizzou fans out there are gonna hate us, all 6 of them. But
Yeah, I was gonna say who. I don't even know anyone.
um, yeah, I'm not a. This was one of the guys that like I've heard his name, but I don't know much about him.
So don't.
So I'm cool with putting him B. I mean, the Jets could have went defense. They could have. There was a lot of talk about Brees Hall maybe being on the move. We could have seen a first round trade with him. Obviously, none of that happened. But the Jets need quite a bit still. Um,
They do.
they've essentially reset after, not reset, but gotten rid of the old heads more so after getting rid of Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, who, Derek, that breaks his heart when he hears got rid of Aaron
Oh
Rodgers.
my god.
But they brought
Breaks
Justin
my.
Fields in. I forgot who they brought in. So getting a tackle for him, now it's dependent on where he plays. If he's playing right tackle, which I believe is where they have in their depth chart, unofficially updated, I think, on ESPN, that he is at right tackle. So that's Justin Fields' blindside protector. Um,
Yeah, they
I,
they drafted a left tackle last year, so
yeah, I'm cool with it going B. I mean, it's not a flashy pick. It's not a win you a Super Bowl pick,
don't
but
be mad at us.
it's a solid pick.
Yeah, don't be mad at us. Especially a lot of these offensive tackles, or maybe some of the players that we don't know or didn't watch a lot. We're not gonna have great context of where we're gonna put them, so don't be mad if we put your team a little lower than some others. So we'll move along a little
Yeah,
quickly here
absolutely. And that's
between the.
not to say that Membu's a bad pick, but we
No,
just don't know.
yeah, we're not as educated. So if you guys are Jets fans or Mizzou fans, let us know how you really feel. If he's actually worth it. The Jets think so. We'll move on to the Panthers. They get Ted McMillan, to where a lot of people are saying he's the best wide receiver in this draft. So Xavier Legette and him are going to be the 1-2 punch. Believe they still got white man Adam Thielen over there for Bryce Young. So they got a decent running back core as long as they stay healthy. They should look like a decent wide receiver core. Now just needs that offensive line to kind of step up for the most part. I don't mind a B here just for the fact of I don't think he's gonna win you many games either. At least not right now. I think the Panthers still need a lot of work done over there, so I wouldn't be mad at B.
Yeah, I wouldn't be mad at that either. I mean, the Panthers need a lot of shit. Honestly, I'm surprised that I shouldn't say I'm surprised. I'm a little surprised they didn't trade back and try to get a Jackson Dart or even Shador, who didn't end up going in the first round. Um, but for what they took when they took him, I mean, he is debatably the best receiver in the draft. In my opinion, he is the best. So I'm not upset at the pick, but it's with how much help they need.
Yeah,
It's like popping a bandage when you're at 1 HP in Fortnite. It's like,
yeah,
all right, well, it kind of helps.
yeah. I mean, we'll throw him B for now. I mean, Tet's like a 6'4" beast. Um, he'll definitely be a great wide receiver, I think, in the NFL. But Bryce Young, we still don't know if he's great. The offensive line, a little bit of everything over there. It doesn't move the needle. I guess we're kind of ranking the team kind of right now, but we can't put everyone in A tier. All right, so
Yeah.
Tet and B for right now. So we'll move on to where I thought this guy might have ended up at the Bears, but he got taken right before him to the Saints. We got Kelvin Banks Jr., another tackle taking off the board here. Saints are another team to where quarterback question marks if they really wanted Derek Carr to stay there long term. Another one to where they have a lot of holes in their whole team and their salary cap. So they do get, I think, a pretty good offensive tackle here. So their pro comp is Rashawn Slater. Shout out him. He's in my all time team, or my what is it? Not all time team. We did a fantasy current NFL draft team. But like I said, offensive tackles, I only know as much as what other people tell me. I never really paid attention to how good those tackles were playing, nor did I watch film.
All right, well, before you say anything, I'll just let everybody get pissed at me. I pulled up the Saints depth chart and they got this motherfucker as backup right tackle. Put him in C. You already
See,
have a right tackle. If he is a backup right tackle on your unofficial depth chart currently, right now, why did you take him?
I mean, I think he'll start. I think he'll start.
Yeah, but the other players that have been drafted up until the point of where we are in the draft are all starters on their team's unofficial depth charts. After the draft today, Kelvin Banks is a backup right tackle for the Saints.
All right.
They
I
have
would.
Trevor Penning in starting
You'd
over him.
put him C. You said
We don't have anybody in C. I'm just trying to,
we got
spread the
Jags.
wealth a little bit.
We can put him in with the Jags.
Yeah, why not? You drafted a backup right tackle. Way to go.
I would put him near that BC tier there between those two. This next team we're going to talk about, I think it's for what they need. I think it should be worse than C, in my opinion. I know it's your guy, but we move to the Bears and they take Michigan man Colston Loveland. And if he went to another team that really needed a tight end, I would put him high. But they went to a team to where Cole Kmet was already playing pretty good and he was getting touches on a team to where there's a lot of offensive players that get a lot of touches over there. And they needed offensive line help. They needed a little bit of defense. They needed more than a little bit of defensive line help. One of those teams to where they just didn't focus on protecting the quarterback, even though they did a little bit in free agency. Sure, we seen that. I would put this one D right off the bat. Not saying Colston's a bad player. He'll obviously play a decent amount. I think he'll play like the Travis Kelce role with them, lining up at the slot a little bit. I just don't think that was the best fit for their team with that pick.
So this is a tough one for me to rank.
It's a Michigan man.
Not even take that completely out of effect. They draft Tyler Warren in this position. It's a little different because of how much Swiss Army knife he plays, but they lose. Now a lot of people will be like, "Oh well, he wasn't that good." They lost
Keenan.
Keenan Allen. Now that leaves you with Roma Dunze and DJ Moore at wide receiver. You have Zacchaeus from the Commanders and Devin
Just a
Duvernay.
speedy guy.
Those are
Yeah, they're
your
just
three
speedy guys.
receivers. So Colston Loveland being able to fill in that third spot, if he forces into the NFL player he's projected to be, I believe that's a solid pick. I wouldn't say D. In terms of what they need on their team, it does hurt a little bit, like the stock of it. Like, take the defense out of it and just look at the offensive mindset. I think this could be considered an A-side pick. But when you're looking at also their defense and, the guys that got drafted after him, a Kenneth Grant, a Jalen Walker, I know that their linebackers are solid, but it's
So,
it's
I mean,
tough to rank
they
this one
got
just because of they need offense as well. Like they still needed another guy on offense.
they did. I think they
Unless
needed
Roma
another.
steps into that role and fills the void that Keenan Allen is leaving, that people, like I said, people are gonna be like, "Oh, well, it wasn't that big of a hole he left because he didn't do shit."
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm cool with putting it in C or D. If you want to put it in
So
D, we can go D.
we don't have any D. I'll be the guy since you did the Saints one. I'll be the guy to throw it in D. I know, and listen, guys, Ben Johnson, look what he did with Sam Laporta, right? Great. I wouldn't be surprised if Loveland is a top 5 tight end next year when it comes to receiving yards and things like that. He might be great, but for the fact they might not win games because of him, because they need help with that O line, they need help with that D line. They had bigger holes to fill, pause, than the tight end position. So
I think going defense for them there would have been the better option. Not even over O line. Like I said, if you're just strictly looking at offensive lead for this draft pick, I think it could be an A or a B. Not to interrupt you, but
no, you're good.
defense I think needed more help than offense.
Yeah.
But I mean, same thing with the Browns. You guys needed more help with offense, which is why they got knocked down some points. So
The only
sucks
thing with
seeing.
the Browns, it just helped with the trade. that they
Yeah, the
got.
trade helped them a lot. If there wasn't a trade and they would have just taken Mason Graham, that would be probably a C or a D tier. So
Yeah.
I with that mentality, you have to put the draft pick of Colston Loveland, not Colston Loveland himself. The draft pick of Colston Loveland is a D.
The draft pick of a tight end. I didn't care who it was. As a D. And my Browns or Bears coworker might agree. We'll see when I talk to him tomorrow at work. But I know we're about 35 minutes here, and we're not even halfway done with the first round. We'll try to kick it up for you guys here. And we'll move on to the 49ers to where they take Mikael Williams from Georgia, the edge rusher. Now, Georgia had a really, really good defense, similar to their defense a couple years ago, where a lot of their players got picked in the first round. Now, some of them didn't pan out, some of them did. Now, this is going to be a real question for a lot of players like this. Were they great because they were great players or because of the players around them in the system that they were in? That's going to be the question with a lot of these defensive players that we're going to see. Now, I mean, they don't.
I'll take
I
the
don't know.
reins and I'll be that guy. I think this could be an A tier pick or
Okay.
B. I'm cool with A or B because you're picking a guy. This is going to be a similar thing to what the Steelers do, what the Browns have the opportunity to do if they can, get an edge rusher if they would have drafted Abdul Carter. You already have Nick Bosa. He's already getting double teamed every game. He's already getting chipped every game. You get a guy that's good. He doesn't have to be great. I'm not saying that Mikal isn't, or Mikel, I don't know how you pronounce his name. I apologize. I'm not saying he isn't great because he's a very, very solid edge rusher. But you're putting him on a defensive line that already has a great edge rusher, so he's going to eat. Like, I think that that's a very good pick for them, so I'm good with going A or B.
So we'll throw B just for right now. We need to fill up B. You guys are gonna hate us, but we just can't make everyone A, S, and B. So you guys are definitely gonna get mad at us throughout the video. Sorry in advance. It just has to be that way. Can't do it forever. You can't make
You know what's
everybody
crazy
happy.
is you got two guys right now that have nothing to do with NFL teams telling NFL owners how good or shitty they did with their draft picks.
Yeah, because we know
Welcome to the
ball.
media, brother.
Yeah,
Welcome to the
welcome to the
media.
media. And we're gonna go to Georgia's rival, basically Alabama. We have the Cowboys taking the offensive guard Tyler Booker from Alabama. And just looking at it, he had an 85 grade and he was overall ranked 51. So this is according to ESPN at least. The Cowboys select Tyler Booker from Alabama. So
So
I,
is this
I
one of those in Madden when you draft this guy it says like you reached?
it might be. I'm gonna
I don't know
as
much about
talk about it.
offensive linemen. Um did they had somebody retire though, didn't they?
They did.
They
They
had no
needed to
lineman
fill that spot.
retire. Was it a guard for sure? I couldn't remember who retired. I knew somebody retired. Um
Yes.
so filling the spot, I mean it is what it is, but you could have probably gotten him later in the draft. So I'm cool with putting another one in D. Nah, I'm kidding. People are gonna flame me. Them Cowboys fans are assholes. Put it in C.
Yeah. We can throw it in C. I mean, do you give him bonus points because that's going to be the third Tyler on the offensive line? I don't know if you're building chemistry with a bunch of Tylers. They could be. I'm looking on Twitter right now. Um, Colts fans, I guess, wanted this guy. Um, some Cowboys actually really love this pick. Some wanted Matthew Golden, but they filled their spot. I'm cool with B or C wherever you want to go.
Yeah, let's put him in C. Why not?
Sure, Cowboys and C. Cowboys fans are definitely gonna love that one. Um,
I mean, you got to
so
protect the bad quarterback. So like, he's already put in a failing position.
the bad quarterback. That's crazy. All right, no comment on that one. We got the Miami Dolphins taking another one of Jordan's favorite guys, Kenneth Grant from Michigan. And Jordan, I know you
S tier,
watched him again. I'm gonna let you take this one away.
S tier player. I'm gonna be honest. This might be another C tier pick. It
Oh, really?
sucks that all three of my Michigan men that got picked are outside of, if the Browns didn't have the trade. But they need help protecting Tua, man. I mean, Tua gets killed back there, and then you're gonna take a D tackle. Like, I
Some
don't
people
know.
are
It
saying he would have been
seems
there with the 25th pick that they reached on him.
I don't know if he would have made it to 25, but because I think he would have been taken if he wasn't taken there. The Cardinals ended up taking a D tackle. If their mind was set on D tackle, they would have probably taken him at 16. Um, but in my opinion, you needed O line help there in some way, shape, or form. Like I said, we see Tua year in and year out get
Ah,
killed back there. And I know
yeah.
that some of it might be considered his fault, the scrambling and trying to make something out of nothing that he does, but not all of it is his fault.
Yeah,
So,
a lot of Twitter saying Greer, their GM, is failing to protect Tua, and that they want him fired. So I guess those fans wouldn't be opposed to you throwing him in C as well.
yeah,
And I don't think it's for the fact of the player that they got, but what they needed for their team.
another
Um,
A tier player taking a C tier pick.
yeah,
And dude, it sucks. It sucks
yeah,
so bad
for
to
you.
watch where my guys got drafted to and how we're having to rank them. In my opinion, all three guys that got taken in the first round, Mason Graham, uh, Colston Loveland, and Kenneth Grant are all A to S tier players. Just Mason Graham is the only one that was picked in a pick that kind of made sense, and even that one didn't really make sense because, in my opinion, you should have taken Genty.
Yeah. Um. Yeah. We'll leave him C for now. Dolphins fans might agree. I should ask my Dolphins fan Dylan. Shout out you. I doubt you're watching this, but I'm curious on what he thinks. But we'll move to the Colts where they do take Tyler Warren. He was in a lot of mock drafts going there, and the Colts end up
Swiss
taking
Army.
6 foot Swiss Army knife dude that could do everything basically. I wouldn't be. It fills a hole. They didn't really have anybody on the offense for like a safety net. I guess I would say for Richardson. I guess you could say Pittman a little bit. I mean, Alec Pierce was a deep guy. Josh Downs got open a decent amount. This adds a lot to their offense. They got Jonathan Taylor over there as well. So I'm not mad if we put this in A.
Yeah, I'm cool with an A or even a B tier draft pick with this one. I know we have a lot in A. I would be cool with A though. I think that not going quarterback this year is a good decision. I know a lot of Colts fans. I know one personally that said, "Why the hell did we take a tight end when we need a quarterback?" But you're giving Anthony
What quarterback?
Richardson one more weapon for one more year. I think that they're going to give him one last chance. He subs himself out of another game though, and it might be wrap.
Yeah, it might be rap. But we'll leave it in B for right now. We might move stuff around depending on these next 17 picks. If we have everybody in B and C, we got to move some shit around. But we'll move on to the Falcons, to where another Georgia guy on the defense gets taken for their first pick, their 15th pick. And we're also going to rank their pick that they had later in the draft as well when they traded. But first, they got Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia, which is, I think he's an absolute dog. But then guess what? They trade, and they also get James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. So I don't know. I assume you're pulling up the trade as we speak right now.
Oh, I was not. I was pulling up the depth chart, but I can look up
Okay.
Falcons trade.
As you pull that up right now, James Pierce, his pro comp is Alex Highsmith. Jordan loves Alex Highsmith because he's on the Steelers, and Jalen Walker's comp is Harold Landry III, which I believe that we ranked in a trade this past year as well. And Jordan's going to hit us with the draft pick comps for that, I believe, 26th pick. 26th pick.
So, I'm going to be honest. This knocks it down for me. Um,
I
and I'm seeing a lot of Falcons players now. I'm just just reading a couple of the tweets when you look up Falcons trade, ML football, awful trade. Um, they moved up 3 picks, I believe, is what it was. Or no, I'm sorry, because they picked 15 and then the trade was 26. Okay. So, oh, I'm sorry. I'm dyslexic and misread that. They gave up 3 picks. So they gave up, or they received, I should say, pick number 26, which was James Pierce Jr. And they received pick 101 in this year's draft. They gave up pick 46, pick 242, both in this year, and next year's first round pick.
So I'm looking at it as you kind
And
of
the
got to.
first tweet, when you go on Twitter and search Falcons trade, says, "You traded a future first round pick to draft a kid with character issues in a city that has wings and strip clubs on every corner. Oh no, Falcons."
Well, yeah, I do see on Twitter a lot of people aren't happy with that Falcons trade. I see a lot of Rams fans happy that they get the Falcons first round pick next year. Um, yeah, a lot of
Yikes.
Falcons fans I see they were happy with the 15th pick. The 15th overall pick, they were happy. They were excited. When they traded back in and got rid of their first round pick and yeah, they got rid of their first round pick and a little more. They weren't as happy, but I don't know. They did draft two pass rushers here, basically, in the first round. So yeah, also we got to take into account they have two players that we got to kind of grade. So I think one's good, the other one the trade kind of affects the
I think the
ranking.
trade hurts them a lot. Um, they went 8-9 this year. I don't think either of the players that they got in the draft are going to significantly change that. I mean, maybe 9-8 next year. We'll see.
Well, they listen. Their offense really didn't need a lot of work. It was their defense.
I agree. Um, but taking 2 edge rushers there, as opposed to taking maybe one of them and maybe getting their secondary is good. AJ Terrell, Jordan Fuller, Jesse Bates, uh, Mike Hughes. They have good DBs. Maybe could have
They didn't
taken
really have
another
edge rushers though.
DB. They didn't. I don't know. It's
It's close. I mean, I don't know. I can see this being a great trade for them because their offense is set and they just need dogs on defense. But a lot of people didn't like what they gave up to get that 26th pick.
so Jalen Walker. I do think is a great pick for them because he's probably going to play probably going to play edge. When he was in college, he did play both. He kind of was hybrid between edge and inside. But they have Leonard Floyd, who's a little bit old. He was technically their will linebacker last year,
Yeah.
and Divine Diablo, who that's their right inside linebacker. They do have a guy that's technically above Jalen Walker at their Sam linebacker.
Yeah, I don't think he will be, but I think they just put him there.
Yeah, I I don't know.
I
I don't know.
wouldn't I'm
This
thinking
is
B. I think
this
that
is
helps
tough.
their team a decent amount. And I think they have a chance to win the division. But
I don't know a lot about James Pierce Jr. from Tennessee. People are saying character issues, and I'm
he's
seeing a lot of
a dog on the field, but yes, that was the biggest thing was can he be a professional? Can he be a pro? Um, that was the biggest question. I'm cool with B right off the top of my head, but we do have to decide here quickly. We're running on 50
we
minutes
could
here.
we could go B.
We'll just throw B for right now, and we're gonna go a little quicker with some players that we might not know as well. So, well, like this one, I'm not a big knower of Walter Nolan that got selected by the Arizona Cardinals here at number 16, defensive tackle. According to ESPN, he was the third best D tackle and the 17th best player in this NFL draft. He had 15 and a half tackles for loss last year and 6.5 sacks. So it's pretty damn good for a D tackle. Now, his pro comp is Ed Oliver, which is, a pretty good player. So the big thing with him is that he's going to learn from Calais Campbell. It's going to be great for him because Calais is back in Arizona. Now, I don't mind this pick. I think it could be like a C pick.
That's where
I
I'm
don't know
thinking
I don't
too.
know much about this guy, so if Arizona you guys are watching me, Old Miss, don't know a lot about this guy, but I think it's a solid player.
I think they could have taken a linebacker here for sure, or traded back and taken a linebacker slash wide receiver a little bit later in the draft because they do kind of need. I mean, right now their wide receiver three is
Ooh.
Greg Dortch. Um,
Imagine Ibuka and Harrison back together.
he got taken a little earlier than that, didn't he? Or am I
No,
mixing it up?
Ibuka goes in the next two to Tampa.
Two, the
Or
next
three,
three,
couple
yeah,
more. Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, you could have taken Ibuka there. You could have traded back and taken a linebacker or something. I'm cool with going C here, just because Walter Nolan, I'm sure he's good. He is going to get trained by Calais Campbell, but for this year, you have Calais Campbell, so yeah, it's cool to get your guy in there early with him as a mentor. But are you expecting only one more year out of Calais? I don't know. I think that you needed more help on the offensive side of the ball.
All right, we'll move on to the Bengals now. Now the Bengals, I thought here might selected Will Johnson in my head. Like they might get Will Johnson here. They might need a little help at that corner spot. They might go defensive line because they need a little bit of defensive line help. And they went edge. So they did go to Texas A&M and got Shamar Stewart, which I heard a lot of last year. He just had 11 tackles for loss and 4.5 sacks just last season for
No,
A&M.
that's total in 3 seasons.
Oh, in three. Oh my God, I thought that was last season when I was reading it. So that's just in
Nope.
3 seasons.
So when
And
I was looking at the post-draft analysis, just 1.5 sacks in each of the past 3 seasons, that is not very good for an edge rusher.
according to ESPN, it says, but his tape is better than his production. He is a physical and explosive player who gets off the ball well, shoots his hands, and uses long arms to press blockers off his frame. Now, I guess he was an absolute dog when it came to the combine and physicals. That's probably why he jumped up a little bit. Overall, 22 in position rank 6 for the Bengals. Daniil Hunter is his pro comp.
I'm cool with going C here. Realistically, if it wasn't for them trying to replace Sam Hubbard with this pick, I would probably put it in D or even maybe our first F,
Yep.
because he has had no production, even though the size is there, and it is possible to become a better player, but you've shown us nothing yet. Not much yet, I should say. I shouldn't say nothing. Um, but because of them needing to replace Sam Hubbard and get somebody in there, I'm cool
Yeah.
with going D, actually. I'm cool with going D.
You want to throw him D for fun? I mean, hey, they're in our division. Fuck them, right? We'll
Okay.
throw him D. We'll move on to the Seahawks with the number 18th overall pick. They take Gray Zabel, position ranked number 1 as an offensive guard, and they got him pick 18 here. Played a lot of games in college, 41 total games, and the only question mark comes from North Dakota State. Doesn't play against amazing talent, but guess what? North Dakota State has a lot of players that come from there that can produce in the NFL. So they're not really looked down upon as much as some other schools that they would play against. Now, Seahawks, they need a little bit of that O-line help. I don't know a lot about offensive linemen, like I said, besides what I read about them. So here I'm cool throwing it B, C tier just because I don't know as much about this guy.
Yeah, I'm cool with going B tier here. I mean, you're getting a guy to protect Sam Darnold, your new franchise quarterback, until he sees ghosts again. And you're helping Kenneth Walker and Zach Charbonnet with a little more extra push up front for them to run behind. Cool with it. Also, did you know that they have DeMarcus Lawrence now?
We'll go B, and I didn't know they have DeMarcus Lawrence. It was weird seeing it.
I did not know that. I
It
looked
was
up their
weird.
depth chart and I see DeMarcus Lawrence and I was confused. But yeah, um, I'm cool with going there. I mean, they have a good defense. Fell apart a little bit towards the end of the year. Hopefully, they can kind of hold it together this year. But I'm absolutely cool with B and first overall guard and got taken after the Cowboys took a guard.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy was said to be better than him. We'll see, how it turns out in the long run, but we'll move on to the Bucks to where Seahawks thought they might have took this guy, pair him up with another Ohio State wide receiver. But the Bucks take Emeka Ibuka, and I'm not going to
The
lie,
first F.
that's crazy.
No, I'm kidding.
Um I
That's the hater in me.
there was a lot of questions about, hey, we got Mike Evans, we got Chris Godwin. I know Jordan might say this is going to bite me in the ass because I didn't think Chris Godwin's injury is that big, but both early 30s. Godwin is coming off injury, so you don't know as much what he's going to be. And I think Ibuka's a dog, dude. I think he could have been argued as the best wide receiver in college
He's ranked
football.
fourth, but I mean, yeah, absolutely, he had an argument. Trust me, I watched that guy all season too because one, I live in a state where everybody's Ohio State fans and work in a barbershop where everybody's Ohio State fans, so I have to watch him on Saturdays. But Ibuka's definitely a dog. Even if Godwin comes back 100%, it's gonna be
But that's nasty.
JSN last year. I
That's
think that
nasty.
he has a chance to be what JSN was last year for the Seahawks, where you have Mike Evans who still gets 1,000 yards every year, but he's getting a little bit older. Chris
Maybe not
Godwin
the.
getting a little bit older. You could maybe see him take a step into wide receiver 2 over Chris Godwin next year. I mean, like I said, coming off the injury, he absolutely could be what JSN was last year. I think JSN actually ended the season as wide receiver 1 for the Seahawks just because everybody paid attention to DK. But
That makes sense. Um, I I would honestly put this A, just for the fact of
I'm cool with it.
I think he could have been the best wide receiver in the draft, and then you give Baker a gunslinger and Baker Mayfield another weapon on offense. It's going to help that team a lot, in my opinion. And guess what? What was their downfall last year, later in the season? The injuries when it came to wide receivers. You had Sterling Shepard being the number one target for Baker Mayfield at one point.
Which
So,
isn't their fault, but
yeah, not their fault, but if that happens again, you're going to have a Mecca Ibuka as well. So,
the only thing that kind of keeps me with, I almost want to say B, is because you drafted in a position that you're already wealthy in. You already
wealthy,
have two good, if they're healthy, you have two good
I
receivers.
think that was
You
the
could have
question.
used that pick to, help on defense, or even if you wanted to, I know the O-line for them was good, but I'm sure you could have found somebody out there that maybe could have helped you. Um, it sucks that the two good tight ends from the first round are already gone because getting a Colston Loveland for
Dude,
them would have been really good.
yeah.
Um, but I'm cool with putting him in A. There's just the only question mark that I have around that pick is, like I said, you're drafting in a position that you maybe could have waited till next year to draft in.
I agree. I mean, yeah, it could go either way. I think there's more in B right now. Even if we put them in A, there's still going to be more in B. So we'll throw them in A just for now, so we're not hogging up all that B spot. We'll move on to pick 20, to where the Denver Broncos have one white corner, and this corner that they just drafted is compared to another white corner in Cooper DeJean, Jody Barron from Texas. Plays a little bit of safety as well last year. So I assume that's why they did get him. He can play a little bit of everything when it comes to defensive back, because you got Riley Moss and you got Pat Surtain. You got two good corners, and you get
Yeah,
another guy that
absolutely.
can come in, maybe play a little bit of that nickel slot corner and play safety. You're probably going to be set up pretty well. I like this. I like this pick a lot for their defense. Now, the only thing people could have argued was trying to get another receiver, like maybe a Matthew Golden, or running back in Amarian
Marion
Hampton.
Hampton was still there. Yeah.
And that was the only other options I think would have been good for him, especially running back. Javonte Williams ain't anything, especially what he used to be. I I wouldn't mind this A because there's still more
Javante
in
ain't even
B.
there anymore, by the way. I didn't
Oh
know
yeah,
if
he
you
went
knew
to the
that.
Cowboys. He went to the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
it's Jalil from YSU.
Shout out YSU.
That's
Shout out Jaleel
technically
McLaughlin.
their. It's him and Audric
He's their
Estime.
starter.
Yep.
So if they went into the season this year with just those two, Estime would probably be the number one back carrying because McLaughlin
I'm
ain't
sure they would
big.
probably
Yeah, McLaughlin's more
they'd
of a
probably
third down.
split. They'd probably
Um,
split.
I like to be honest. I'm a big fan of him. I'd like it in A, but I'll let you decide this one.
Yeah, I'm cool with going to A there. I mean, you're beefing up. They they won games last year on their defense. The only argument I could have made is maybe a little protection like the Patriots did for Bo Nix, or getting him another weapon like you said, a running back,
Patriots did
another
for
wide
Drake May.
receiver.
Oh, or you? Never
Yeah, I'm
mind.
sorry,
I
Drake
see
May,
what.
Drake May,
Either
doing
way,
what
the
the
way you
Patriots
said it could have worked.
did,
Yeah.
but yeah, for your quarterback in Bo Nix. Um, honestly, I'm cool with putting it in B to be honest. Defense is already solid. They won games last year on their defense. I think they needed help on offense more than anything.
But now think, I don't know who they would have got right now. I don't think
Uh,
Golden's a speedy
Matthew
guy.
Golden,
Golden's a speedy guy. They already got Mims. That's Mims.
he could end up being a better Mims. I'm not sure. I mean, you could have went
I would have
the
liked
line
Marion Hampton
somewhere.
more. I would have liked Marion Hampton more, actually, to be honest with you.
Well, when we get to him, I got a hot take on that pick.
Yeah, that's a little
But
weird. It surprised me. I thought Will Johnson was going to go there. He didn't even go at all yet. So um, we'll leave him an A for right now because I'm going to let you take the reins of this next pick. It is your team, the Pittsburgh Steelers, at pick 21.
yeah, so pick 21, we took Derek Harmon out of
Shout out
Oregon
Derek.
D tackle. Um, this is one of the guys that when they announced the pick, everybody makes the jokes about it. They just showed everything bad about his life and made you feel like kind of bad for the guy. But I am happy with the pick. Derek, we were in Discord actually watching the draft before the pick was made, and let's just say I wouldn't have been happy if we would have went with Shador. I'm not a fan of Shador Sanders. I'd rather have this guy back, to be honest.
No.
Yeah, maybe, bro. I'm
No.
gonna be honest. I would rather have Little Hand Kenny back.
Duck
Shador to me
Hodges?
is not impressive, but we're not talking about Shador because we didn't take him. If
No
we
one
did
did.
take him, it would have been Derek doing this by himself. I would still be alive. I just wouldn't have wanted to record.
Oh my God. Okay, yeah, good. Good thing you said that. Yeah, good.
Clarify
Yeah.
that. I like this pick a lot for us. We needed inside help on the D line. We watched what Derrick Henry did to us. Obviously, having Derrick Henry in the division, having Lamar Jackson in the division. I know Nick Chubb still not signed, but the Browns will get a running back. Having that interior D line help. We already got our secondary kind of sorted out. I'm very happy with this pick for our defense. The only thing maybe we could have done that I wouldn't have been upset about is taking Jackson Dart. But I'm looking at it as it's my team. I'm very happy with the pick that we made. I'm willing to put this in A tier.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
don't know how you feel. He was the
I'm gonna let
second
you do it.
second ranked D tackle, 15th overall rank, and we got him at 21, I believe. Yeah,
Yeah.
21. So I'm cool with going A tier here.
Screw it. We'll put him A right beside the Browns to make people angry. Why not? Yeah, and I'll even say that not a lot of other teams need quarterbacks right now, and there's a decent amount of quarterbacks that are still on the board that could be potential franchise quarterbacks. They just got to develop. So I assume the Steelers eventually are going to take one, whether that's a Shador somehow, whether that's a McCord, a Will
I
Howard,
hope
a
not
Q
for
Quinn
you.
Ewers. Could be, I'm not a big fan of Tyler. I'm not even going to say his last name. But could be any of those to just back up and have 1 year
Shaw?
to learn. Yeah. I don't like him. He's
I have heard a lot
terrible.
of people still excited about the Alabama quarterback,
Jalen Milrow.
Milrow.
The biggest thing
I've
about
heard a lot of
him, he's
Steeler fans still excited about him. As a Michigan fan, I've seen him kind of,
choke.
so I don't
Yeah.
know, but
All right. We're gonna move on. I know we're already an hour and 4 minutes into this, and I know Jordan has a little bit of talk about his ex Steelers player that went to this team, the Chargers, as they take a running back to pair up with his ex teammate, Amarian Hampton from North Carolina, which I think could be a nasty guy.
This was the guy that realistically, I was trying to hold off on it. This is the guy I would have loved for us to take. I would have loved to have Amari Hampton in a Steeler uniform. Um, but he went and paired up with Najee, and this might sound like a hot take here. I think this is going to be incredible. Um, I think that these two guys being a dual-headed backfield in a Jim Harbaugh offense, we've already seen it once before. Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards. Even if one of the two is a little bit worse than the other, Harbaugh will make it work. And all you're going to do is open up the play action pass so much better. This is literally they're drafting directly into a Jim Harbaugh offense because look at what he did with Michigan and with J.J. McCarthy, Blake Corum, Donovan Edwards. All it was we're going to run the ball down your throat all game. And when we need to, play action it up, and he has one hell of a quarterback to run play action down the field with.
Yeah. Before you get to your rank, I know a lot of Chargers fans. I don't even. I'm pretending I'm a Chargers fan. You do need a little bit of help in corner. Asante Samuel is no longer on the team. He's a free agent as of right now, and he was hurt for all of last year, basically. Will Johnson might have been a good pick. Also, look at your receiver core. It's really Ladd for the most part. You could have paired up another receiver in Matthew Golden. Could have. But Marion Hampton, the Harbaugh offense is going to pound the rock until you get tired, play great defense on my defensive end, and just win like Michigan won their national championship. I assume that's what he's trying to replicate in the NFL level. So I don't hate it, but for Herbert, I think he would have loved another kind of guy on offense that's going to be on the field every play because him and Najee are going to, most likely not going to be in pistol and have both of them on there. So I like it. I like it. I can see it going high and I can see it going middle of the pack because it's all right at the same time,
I'm
if that
cool
makes sense.
in terms of team needs. I'm cool with putting it B. My hot take with it.
Player, I think it might be AS because I think Amari Hampton's that great. Sorry.
Yeah. My hot take with it is not where I'm putting them in the rankings. But this is going to be my hot take for next season when we do our preseason hot takes and predictions. Najee Harris and Amarion Hampton are going to be the best running back duo in the NFL next season. Better than Gibbs and Montgomery. That is my hot take for next year. This is going to be a very good duo. I think Najee he's never rushed for under 1,000 yards. I know you guys are like, well, nowadays it doesn't matter. It's still impressive, whether you want to admit it or not. I think Najee will still get 1,000, and I bet that Amari and Hampton will be damn close. If you count receiving yards, I think they'll both be over 1,000.
Yep.
Total yards.
I agree. We'll leave them in B for right now. Then we'll move on to my brother's favorite team and a team that I was high on the receiver core going into the year last year because they had a lot of dudes that could be pretty nice.
And guess then we watched them all be number 3s.
They dropped the ball a lot. And the Packers didn't drop the ball here. They didn't give Aaron Rodgers a lot of weapons in the first round when they took any players in the first round when they had him on the team. They'll have Jordan Love here now. They're going to get Matthew Golden from Texas. Another guy that was argued with the top receivers as well. Definitely going to be the receiver one going into next year. I like this pick. I like a B-ish tier just because it fills a really needed position on their team because he needed help with wide receivers. Now their defense is still going to have a little bit of work going into the second and third round for the Packers, so we'll see what they do in the next couple of days.
Yeah, the defensive needing picks is really what made me think like maybe a B/C for this pick. What did your brother think about the pick? I know you were there when they made it. How did he feel?
I mean, he's always an optimist when it comes to Packers and Packers players, saying they're absolute dogs. He liked the pick because I think he understood that his wide receivers weren't that great last year. I forget. We asked him before we left to rank it. I think he said A or B, but obviously he's a Packers fan. Um, I wouldn't mind it A B tier, but you said B C. Um, if we want to meet halfway, I don't mind B.
Sounds like we're split in the middle in B. In my opinion, though, the reason I said B/C, I know that none of your guys really stepped up, but you did have a lot of injuries at wide receiver last year. Jaden Reed was hurt. Romeo Dobbs was hurt. Christian
Christian
Watson was
Watson.
hurt. Like
Yep.
throughout the year, these guys were hurt off and on the whole season. Um, but if you were to look at it just depth chart wise at receiver, taking Matthew Golden out, you have realistically 5 receivers that will see the field and catch passes for them. So getting a 6th guy, if he doesn't pan out to be a clear-cut number 1, the best receiver on the team, you now have 6 receivers that'll see the field and be number 2/number 3s. That's my
Yeah.
only kind of gripe with it, is that you already have 5 receivers. You have Jaden Reed, Dobbs, Watson, Dontavian Wicks, and McCole Hardman now. So you already kind of have 5 receivers. You got 6 now, so it's cool, I guess, but
Yeah.
I don't know. That's what knocked it down for me, is you could have went and got, a linebacker, the end to go with Rashawn Gary on the other side. Lucas Van Ness isn't bad, but
He's all
getting
right.
somebody on the interior on that defense or something, maybe a corner. Like we said with the Chargers, Will Johnson was still there. Getting a corner to pair up with
Jair was hurt a
with
lot.
Jair when he's on the field. Yeah, I mean,
They talked about cutting him at one point. like,
yeah. I mean,
um,
your corner room, you have Jair, you have
all right.
Tyshawn Nixon and Nate Hobbs.
Yeah, we're gonna mess around and throw him in C now because we don't want B to be overwhelmed, and I think this next one should be an A or B, just for the fact of I'll tell you why. We got the Vikings. They got J.J. McCarthy from Michigan, and now they're going to take an Ohio State guy to pair him up on the offensive line.
That dude is selling him out every play.
Donovan Jackson from Ohio State. And I will be honest, I think Ohio State's line was really damn good last year. Look at their running backs that they opened up holes for. Look at the quarterback that they made look better than maybe what a lot of people think he is. I think, especially we'll get to Josh Simmons, his injury history. I think the Ohio State offensive line was pretty nasty. I don't mind a high pick or a high ranking here for the Vikings.
Yeah, I agree. I think maybe in B tier, just because of where his overall ranking was. It's like they reached a little bit. Maybe could have got him a little, maybe second round. I don't know where they pick second round, but
It would be late.
overall, I'm cool with going in B, getting an offensive guard. I mean, going O line in a draft when you're a team that already has a lot of weapons and a decent defense is never a bad idea.
Yeah, we'll throw them in B for right now, the Vikings. And now we're going to skip all the way to the 27th pick because the 25th was the Giants with Jackson Dart. The 26th was James Pierce Jr. with the Falcons. Now we got another AFC North guy.
27, another F tier.
We got another, AFC North. This was originally, no, this was always the Ravens picks. Also,
Yep.
just to let you guys know, in the video right now, you see the Texans and Rams. They're not going to be ranked because they didn't do anything. I mean, I guess they did get trades, but we're not going to rank them because we don't know what the hell they're going to get out of them yet. So, Ravens take a safety here in Malachi
No, I think we should
Starks.
rank the Rams. Rams might be an S tier. They got a first round pick next year from the Falcons.
You like it?
I like that a lot. They fleeced the Falcons, I think.
So,
Similar situation to the Browns. I mean, if they would have just picked somebody, like, would have had a,
but
got a pick swap
but didn't they
in the
move
first
back a
round.
decent amount of spots though?
They moved back to, I believe, 33
No, the Browns have no.
or 34, I believe. Let me look.
No, they
I have
got
it pulled up
pick.
still here.
They got pick
They
46.
moved back to 46. That's a
That's
little bit farther.
that's a
but
big gap. That's 20 picks.
the Falcons went 8-9 last year. Let's not forget. So your first round pick you're going to have next year will be a middle of the draft probably pick.
Granted, Kirk was playing one of the worst we've ever seen, and Panix is going to have a whole year under his belt. You're assuming he's going to be better. So I don't know. I wouldn't say it's us just because if they got a pick like in the 30s this coming tomorrow, I wouldn't be mad about it. but for the fact of they didn't, I don't know. I don't think they necessarily fleeced them entirely, but that first round pick definitely moves it up.
Yeah. But anyway, going to
Okay.
the Ravens pick. They take Malachi Starks, the safety from Georgia. And ESPN's post draft analysis, I will read you the first sentence, and it makes me sick to my stomach. In my final mock draft, I wrote that sources said Starks was seen as a home run pick for the Ravens. Well, they just hit that home run. They say that his ability to align at anywhere, his ability to play any alignment at safety will allow Kyle Hamilton to play that deep safety, similar to what the Steelers do with Minka when they have another safety playing the center field position. So I think that that overall helps their team on defense a lot. Um, the few games that we saw the Ravens lose last year, it wasn't completely on their defense. A big part of it too was
Early
that
on.
you have Zay Flowers and who, um,
Hey,
but
Bateman was nice.
eh, I like this pick a lot. I think this could be an A-tier pick though for the Ravens. If I'm a Ravens fan, I'm excited about this pick. I'm excited about their ability to use him. In the ESPN article, he's called a defensive chess piece. So
Pro
they're
comp.
talking very highly of him. Pro comp Brian Branch,
Hey, if he turns
who
out to be a Brian Branch and you got a Kyle Hamilton and a Marlon Humphrey and a Nate Wick, like, dude, that's a scary secondary. That's a real
that is
scary
a
secondary.
that is a good secondary. The only gripe I have with it is
Offense.
Lamar has a lot of weapons on offense, but really one receiver. I mean Bateman, don't
D
get me
Hop.
wrong. Yeah, right, next. What
We'll
do we
throw
got
him an A
next?
for right now. Um, we'll move
Let's
on
see D
next
Hop in 2025, like that's a weapon.
to another Ohio State guy getting taken off the board. Shout out Ohio State and Michigan. Great rivals and great players into the first round. Is it Tyleek Williams?
I believe so.
If I said it
I
wrong,
don't
I
like this pro
apologize.
comp though.
Pro comp BJ Hill, the Bengals
Yes,
defensive
I,
tackle.
I would be upset if I got pro comp to that guy.
BJ Hill's not terrible, but he's not an all pro. So, I mean, this is going to help. Think about it. You already have Aiden Hutchinson coming off injury. He's going to be back. He's going to get a lot of the attention. This is, I assume, is going to be similar to, I know Jadeveon Clowney played the DN for the Browns, but it's going to be very similar to where Myles Garrett was getting all the attention. Aiden Hutchinson is going to get all the attention. TJ Watt got all the attention on Pittsburgh. Let everybody else eat. I think statistically he might have a pretty good season going into his rookie year.
The only
But
problem is he will be playing the backup D tackle role because they do have DJ Reader.
so they do have DJ Reader. Now, I mean, a lot of the times DNs do sub in and out. They do a lot of that. And if you can have
Yeah,
fresh legs for both D tackles coming in and out of the game,
absolutely.
it's going to be, it will be nasty. Um, where would
Again,
you
this is
have
a
them?
team. This is a team where
So they
where
usually
do they
run a
need
four.
help?
They usually run a 4-2-5, I guess. So they have four down
ESPN
linemen.
says 4-3, but sure.
So they probably interchange between two. So I mean, he. So according to the depth chart, what you're looking at, who are the two defensive tackles?
Two D tackles are DJ Reader and Aleem McNeil, who I'm
So
assuming
we'll
Tyleek Williams will
we'll
start
take that.
over. So they are drafting a starter, but this is
So
a
yeah,
team where it's like when you look at their roster, you say, "What the hell do we do in the draft?" Because we don't really need much. So I think this is just like a B tier pick. I think that he's a good player. He's gonna make some plays. You have him going next to DJ Reader. I mean, you're juicing up that D line a little bit, but this is a team that you don't really need a lot, so you don't
yeah,
have to take a lot, and it's not a needle pusher. They were Super Bowl contenders without him, and they will be with him.
yep, I agree. We'll throw him in B, and then we'll move on to the 29th pick with the Commanders taking another offensive tackle off the board, Josh Connerly Jr. from Oregon. Now, Oregon had a great offense, right? Unstoppable offense, it looked like in college football last year. thanks to their offensive line. And now Josh Connolly will go to the Commanders, and we'll see his pro comp a little iffy. It's Broderick Jones. I mean, he might be nice. Obviously, he is a young player, so it's kind of hard to. It's kind of weird to give a pro comp to a guy that's hasn't been in the league very long. But sure, they're probably talking size, the way he moves, and things like that.
Yeah.
But to be honest, don't know a lot about offensive tackles. Like I said, I'm cool throwing it. I'm cool throwing it in B. I mean, the Commanders were a really good team last year. I don't know if Jaden had a lot of issues in the pocket with the offensive line. Um,
So
B does have the most players in our tier list as of right now.
low key, I'm cool with putting Josh Connerly in A. The reason for that, he's a tackle. They just drafted the guy to essentially be on the opposite side of Laramie Tunsil, who they just traded for.
Learn
So
from Laramie.
if he had any problems last year with his tackles, hopefully this year he will not. So I'm cool with making this an A tier pick. You're beefing up the O line for a quarterback that going into last season, not a lot of people thought was going to do what he did, and he turned that team. I mean, they turned that team in general pretty much 360. So you're just giving your young quarterback some help. I mean, this is the same thing as to me. The same
Sorry, excuse
to
me.
me the
I didn't
same
think I was
thing.
gonna pull up.
To me, this is the same thing as what the Patriots did for their quarterback. I like this
uh,
pick a lot,
yeah,
so I'm cool with putting him in A.
we'll throw him in A, and yeah, I know we said we weren't gonna try to throw everybody in A and B. It's kind of hard not to because they're filling positions of need for the most part, so it's hard to kind of go against the grain against their picks. So we'll move on to the Buffalo Bills taking the Kentucky corner, Maxwell Hairston. And this guy, I did watch a lot of Kentucky games, to be honest. I did hear a lot of this guy when it comes to defensive backs and him being a pretty damn good defensive back. And guess what? He's taken before Will Johnson, where a lot of players think he's the best corner. I know injuries with Will Johnson, factor of why he wasn't taken. But Hairston, pro comp of Dax Hill.
I'm cool with putting this one in C.
Me too.
I think that the Bills drafted him based on speed because he did run the fastest 40-yard dash at the combine this year. But you didn't, not being a homer, you didn't draft the best corner in college football in Will Johnson, and you drafted a guy that played at Kentucky, saw some comp over a guy that locked down Marvin Harrison Jr. last year and played great defense. Well, he didn't play in the game this year, so I can't even say he played great defense this year. He was hurt. That's the only thing kind of like I think dropping him maybe in the draft is that he was dealing with that foot injury for a lot of the season. In my opinion, though, it's just if you're going to take a corner there, why take anybody but Will Johnson?
I agree. We'll put him in C for right now, and I think they could have filled up a couple of different spots. I think they had a pretty damn good corner last year. Maybe they're just hoping him to be corner number 2. But I will say, they said this about Sauce Gardner when he came from Cincinnati. He didn't play against a lot of great players. He
And
became
Sauce Gardner had one good year.
all right. Okay, I'll let everyone debate that one. Are you pulling up the next trade for us with the Eagles and the Chiefs? And we're just gonna rank them back to back. First, I guess we're gonna go Eagles because I guess they picked first. But if you have the
Yep.
trade, hit us with
So
it.
the Eagles received the 31st overall pick from the Chiefs. They traded away the 32nd pick and the 164th pick, which is a fifth rounder this season or this draft. So more or less just a pick swap. They were like, "Hey, dude, we really just want to go one ahead of you. Can we do it just in case you take our guy?" And the Chiefs were probably like, "We're not taking your guy, but if you're going to give us an extra pick, sure, why not?"
Or in case of someone else wanted to trade up and take this guy, because I think this guy's one of the best linebackers, Jahad Campbell. And
Yeah, I mean he is position ranked 1 according to ESPN, Now going all the way down to pick 31 as the first ranked linebacker in the draft
Overall,
is a little bit crazy. You know,
overall 19. Also,
yeah. I mean, I'm cool with going A tier for this pick as well. I know we have a lot of A
shit.
tiers, but according
Don't
if
make me say it.
there's a reason that we aren't NFL GMs because we're
Absolutely.
ranking all of these damn near in A tier and B tier,
And we
and
know
that's
they ain't gonna
because
turn out.
those guys normally are pretty damn good at their jobs. So Jihad Campbell, I'm completely okay with going A tier for him.
Listen, I might fuck around and say S tier just for the fact of the Eagles just got. I mean, it's of course they're gonna get better. They're gonna get better people, better players. They just made their defense even more scary than what it already was. They
And they
lost,
just won the Super Bowl.
and they just won the Super Bowl. And that's the
I
only
mean, right
reason I
now,
put it in S, just because I know it's one pick and it's one player, but for the defensive end part of it and him being, I mean, he's the best linebacker in college football. Bro, he's going to go crazy because he has so much great talent around him as well.
absolutely, their linebacker core right now, you have Nolan Smith, Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, and Bryce Huff. He is technically second in the depth chart behind Nakobe Dean. Jeremiah Trotter is another um, not a bad linebacker for them either in the times that I've seen him come in. And then
I
even
don't mind.
randomly, Aziz Ojolari, not terrible either. So I'm going to be honest, they are deep at linebacker and they got a lot deeper. Now, they do have a lot of linebackers, but this is, again, same thing kind of with the Lions draft pick. Where do you really need to upgrade? You look at your team and you say, we just won the Super Bowl with the team that we have. What do we need to do?
Where could they go wrong?
So I think the only thing that they did was probably just look at maybe some of the age on their linebackers and said, let's get a little bit of youth in there. Fuck it. Um, Shout out Josh Uche for being on the Eagles as well. Another Michigan man, if I'm not wrong. I think I'm not wrong.
He
Yep,
was on the
I'm not.
Chiefs. Didn't he get traded to the Chiefs?
He was on the Chiefs, but he is now on the Eagles.
That's weird. Oh, so yeah, got traded to the Chiefs last year and then signed with the Eagles.
Yep,
I
he went
believe.
from New England to the Chiefs. Yep,
Okay.
and
Um,
now he's on the Eagles, and he wasn't bad for New England either.
you want to piss people off? Put it in S tier because people are going to be really confused.
Okay, put it
All
in
right.
S tier.
Only for the fact I can't put two more in A, and I think this next one should probably be an A. Because I'm running out of space on my OBS. So there's only one more room for an A or B team right now. But we got Kansas City that gets a free fourth round pick and an offensive tackle in Josh Simmons. Now, the only question with Josh Simmons is his injury history, his knee. Now, it's a big issue when it comes to offensive tackles and offensive linemen. But also, Josh Simmons was the best offensive lineman in the draft if you're going off pure skill. Now, the question was the injury history. So,
And they said his arms were short. This is another guy, another O lineman with short
yeah,
arms.
um, that always hits me with like the quarterback with small hands too. I don't think it doesn't bother me. Shout out Kenny Pickett. I don't
You
his
got him.
hey
You got small hand man on your roster right now.
listen, his hands weren't too small because whenever he went to throw that ball and it stuck to his hand, he got pretty damn good grip. So I don't think it mattered that he had small hands when he fell with the ball thrown it
That
forward.
that slipped out of his hand and he fell on it.
I don't did it slip? Did it
I think
slip?
it came out of his hand. I'm
It
pretty
might
sure.
have. Anyways, um I like this A to be honest because I obviously they needed offensive line help. That's their biggest issue. They got rid of Joe Tooney. Why? But they filled the gap that they needed, and they got the best tackle if he's able to stay healthy.
Yeah, I agree. The post draft analysis says that in conversations with a Chiefs source today, they said Simmons was a dream target for them, but they assumed that he would be long gone when were on the clock.
Same.
He wasn't gone, and now they have a legitimate franchise left tackle. They normally wouldn't be able to add in the year with. They wouldn't be able to add in the draft with yearly Super Bowl visits. Sorry, I don't know why my eyes were like not
You're
reading
good.
the next line. Um, I'm absolutely okay with going A. Obviously, you want to see how he recovers from that
Injury.
torn patella tendon, but I'm cool with going A there.
Yeah, we'll go A. We're about a minute, or no, not a minute, an hour 30 in to your guys' lives here if you're still with us. So I didn't expect it to be this long. It's definitely this long. It's going to be 1 a.m. by the time we're done talking about this. I will say just before I go, because tomorrow is going to be the second round, the Browns have the first pick in the second round. Don't be surprised if they take Shador and a wide receiver, because they got the first pick in the second round and the fourth pick in the second round. So I'm hoping they do something on offense, either
I'm
receiver,
hoping you
quarterback,
take
running
Shador.
back. Receiver, quarterback, running back. If they take Shador, I'm not as upset because it's a second round pick. We didn't waste our fifth or second round pick on him. I'm happy about that. And we'll see. We'll see where it goes. Let me know down in the comments below where you would put your team ranked. Obviously, probably higher than what we did, unless you're a Giants and Eagles fan. But let us know, who do you want in the draft? Who's still left in the draft? Derek wanted Peyton Wilson last year, but the Steelers stole him from him. Let me know who's going to be that guy that you really want, that your division rival might steal from you. That's all I got for you
Mason
guys.
Graham for me this year.
Mason Graham. I don't think he would have slid, but this is all
No.
one go through, no edits. This is getting posted raw, straight up to YouTube. Any last words or anything from you, Jordy?
No. I hope that the Steelers wait till round 3 to draft the quarterback.
Quinn Ewers? If you give me your top two,
Oh, I don't know. They're all the same,
Quinn
in
and
my opinion. I'm
Will,
taking
the
Kyle
third.
McCord over Will Howard.
Ooh,
Um, and then after that, I mean, realistically, Will Howard's probably towards the bottom of my want list. Kyle McCord, a guy that's not scared to throw the ball. You need a guy that's a short-term memory in the NFL is huge when you're a quarterback. You can't have a guy that throws an interception on the first drive and is still thinking about it in the fourth quarter.
yeah.
I mean, look at, I said this earlier. I'm not comparing him to Joe Flacco, but look at what Joe Flacco was able to do with that Browns offense. Look at what Jameis Winston was able to do with that Browns
I agree.
offense. I'm not saying your offense was bad, but it wasn't great.
And
But
improved.
you had quarterbacks that weren't scared to throw the ball. When Joe Flacco threw a pick, what did he do the first play when they came back out on the field? He threw the ball again.
Yeah.
You can't be scared to throw the ball in the
No.
NFL. That's how you make plays. That's how you. We didn't trade George Pickens, which I thought was going to happen for sure, and I was going to be upset the rest of the night. We didn't trade him, so you get a quarterback if you're going to take one that isn't scared to throw the ball. If you're going to get another quarterback, the NFL the way it's moving, I wouldn't hate Jalen Milroe. I think that he would be able to be molded into a dual threat, and he's big as hell, so he'd be able to
Cam
be
Newton.
molded into
Thick.
that dual threat quarterback kind of role. I don't know how well that would fit in a Arthur Smith ran offense, but realistically, Kyle McCord. I wouldn't mind Quinn, but if we're gonna take a quarterback, just take somebody that ain't scared to throw it.
Yeah. Thank you guys for
You have two,
watching. Sorry.
you have two downfield threats.
Yeah.
Fair
DK
out.
George. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. If you stayed this late, comment, give me $100 and I'll Venmo you $100 right now. Just kidding. If you started typing, you're insane. Why would I do that? But thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. It really helps us out. I
started
appreciate it very
typing
much. Jordan was already pre-typing it. And until next time, guys, if you watched that great AFC North video that we did, Super Team, if you haven't watched it yet, watch it. If you enjoyed it, we're going to do more going forward. Until next time.
NFC North next.
Peace out.